All right, so hello everyone, and thanks for joining us today. So we have a training session on traceability architecture. With us, we have George Maina. So he's the CEO and founder of Shamba Records. So the goal of this session is to bring real Web3 traceability to the fields, marketing, and beyond. So hello George. Also Talel with us. Hello Talel. So George, I think the floor is yours. You can quickly introduce yourself and start this training session. Thank you very much for joining us, guys.
Hey, hi guys, and hope you're well. And can you confirm maybe can you be able to hear me? Yusuf, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Can go on, George.
Ah, perfect. Right, fantastic.
Very good.
Hey builder, yeah, hey builders, and great to meet you all here. So my name is George Maina, and I'm the CEO and the founder of a startup called Shamba Records. And Shamba Records, what we're basically doing, we're bridging the 300 US dollars digital gap in Africa's agricultural market. And we do this by providing a traceability tool that's able to track data from the farm level, from the farmers, to the aggregation, all the way to the export market. And when we do that, we're able now to automate a number of key essential services to these farmers. We're able to provide a farmer wallet that's able to cut down a 90-day payment delay from 90 days to just a single minute or a single second. Besides that, we're able to link farmers and producers to premium markets, to global markets, as well as we're able now to provide advisory services. And how we're able to do that is we're able to use blockchain in terms of now the tracking and
Sorry,
traceability.
George. I will quickly interrupt you. Some guys in the chat are saying that your voice is not that clear. So I don't know. Maybe try to change
Okay,
your
let me
microphone.
let me change. Let me change.
Yeah. Change your microphone, please, so that everyone here can hear you perfectly. Thanks a lot.
Okay, great. So apologies for that. There's always technical issues here and there. So just a very brief intro again. I'm George, the CEO and the founder of Shamba Records. And Shamba Records, we are not tech startup based off in Africa. We provide a traceability tool that helps to bridge the 300 billion digital gap in Africa's agricultural market. And what we do, we're able to provide a tracking tool that's able to track data from the farm level to the aggregation to the export market. So I'm very much interested just to be, facilitating and also just sharing some few insights about our journey on this, and see how maybe I can be able now to help or even encourage a number of builders. But very interested to be here and just to be able to share very few insights, but also allow this to be a very interactive session. So if you feel free, if you have questions, as well as just share your ideas. I'm not like 100% expert. We're still on this journey, just building and also just trying to build solutions for for the retail and for any. But I don't know, Taleb, if you have anything else, should I just jump on the presentation? So where was I? I was saying I'll just take maybe 40 minutes and take you through this about DLT, especially DLT operations on the traceability track, and just talk about Shamba Records. So just as I said, I have 14 years of experience, especially in the tech world, and more than 8 years in the blockchain space, building both from IBM Hyperledger, now landing on Hedera, where we've been able to use Hedera on a number of services, Hedera Consensus Services, as well as HTS, Hedera Token Services. And I'll just ask a very simple question, and Number one is like, what do traceability matter? Why do we need to trace goods? And why do we need blockchain to help us to trace goods? And the key thing is, number one, traceability is the only guide that can help us now to build trust and transparency in different value chains. But trust cannot just be built on an empty, let's say, empty place. We have to use technology, and technology help us to enable trust. And the best technology to be able to help us to trust is blockchain. So when you use blockchain, you can be able to enable trust, build transparency, especially in different supply chains. And for us, we are very vast, especially on the agriculture value chains. Besides that, when you're able to build trust in the different types of supply chain, you're able to offer what you call a premium, let's say a premium level of confidence that can be able now to fetch you or fetch the end customer or fetch the producer a high premium market. And again, when it comes to traceability and again transparency, we're able to reduce fraud as well as we're able to improve compliance. And that's why we have to make sure that traceability is able to help movement of goods. And when goods are being moved, we mix, and there's the exchange of hands in different, in the different people along the supply chain. We have to make sure that we're building the trust. And the only way to build trust is to make sure that these goods, at every exchange of hands, there's maybe a blockchain ID when the goods are being exchanged to the different types or categories. And then coming closer home, especially in Africa, why traceability is very key. Right now, we have a population of about 1.4 billion, and we're looking close to less than 30 years. That population will be almost double. We're looking at 2.5 billion. And you'd be shocked to know right now when Africa exports, like for the last 1 year, Africa has been losing more than 12 billion US dollars in terms of goods being rejected, especially in the export. Reason being, because those goods don't meet the compliance standard. And how do we make sure that people know or are aware that they have been able to meet the quality or the compliance standards that have been set? So traceability comes in place and comes in the future to help in real world problems, whereby if I'm exporting coffee to Europe, you can be able now to make sure or that coffee has been compliance standard. And when that coffee gets to Europe, you can be able easily maybe scan a QR code and check the source of goods or the source of this coffee. Besides that, there are new global regulations such as the EUDR, that EU Deforestation Act. The Deforestation Act states that any good that's been exported from Africa, it has to be proven it comes from a sustainable place. And how do you make sure that you prove that goods that have come from a sustainable? So you have to make sure from the source you have been able to map the origin of those goods. And that's why traceability is very quite key. But when you're able to build traceability and you're able to build trust, then you're able now to offer other unique services. What I mean by other unique services, we're looking at financing, also providing trade financing. By offering trade financing, then you make sure that even when the farmers produce, or anybody who is producing or making the actual good, they can be able now to have some sort of financing. And this can help them even to be able to, let's say, even produce more or make more. So traceability is key in terms of connecting global markets. Number two, in building trust. And when you build trust, you can be able now to create digital identity that are more de-risk that can help now the different people that you're serving to be able to access financing or other services. So coming closer to Shamba Records and how we've been able to achieve now that, number one, we had to map the data flows. Who are we working with on the supply chain? And for example, just using the agriculture sector, we have to, number one, identify. And number one, the actors that you are working with, it was the farmers. because the farmer does the actual production of goods. And then after the farmer does the production, those are they aggregated by an off-taker. And then from the aggregation, there's processors, those who are able to refine. For example, if you pick coffee from the farmers, if you're doing any validation, then those are the people that you call the processors. And then from there, we have what you call the certifiers, who have to certify that this coffee has met up to a certain quality. And then we have the regulators. So the first step in any traceability, whether in any supply chain, whether it's in the health industry, whether it's in even in tourism, in horticulture, you have to be able to identify the different actors or the movement of goods. And now the second step is the product journey. How does the product move? Whether it's from the factory, whether from the farm. After the product moves from the farm, where does it go? Maybe it's aggregated or it's put together in a place, and then after it has been aggregated, then it's ready for manufacturing or it's ready for processing. After processing, the goods exchange good through transport up to the export market. So you also have to know your journey. What's the journey that you're looking at, especially on the supply chain? What's the source of your goods? What's the secondary or what's the second stage of your goods? What's the third stage, the final stage? So you have to know you have to, and you have to understand the product journey. Number two, you have to map the different events. So whether it's at the farmer level, what happens at the farmer level? The farmer does so when do they harvest, you have to understand the date they harvested, the quantity, the quality, so that when you're doing the tracing, you can be able to trace maybe by date, by the quantity, also by the quality. Besides that, if the goods have been aggregated, you have to understand how were they aggregated batches, what's the packaging, what's the storage conditions, because also this will help you on your traceability journey. And then the other part is you also have to define your data source. Where are you actually, how are you actually collecting? Are you like IoT devices? Is it manual data entry? Or is it maybe, are you fetching this data from an automated, maybe like a CRM, a farmer CRM? And then besides that, besides knowing your data sources, you have to know who owns the data or where does the data shift from let's say, for example, when the farmer does who takes the ownership of that harvest in every steps, and who has the permission to do that. So when you're designing now the traceability track, you have to understand, number one, who are the actors in the supply chain, what's the journey of the product from the source, from the raw material maybe to the final product. What happens? You have to map the events by every stage, and then you have to define the data sources where you're getting these actual data. So it's just this like a very simple data flow architecture, whereby number one, you identify the actors in a particular supply chain. For example, in our case, the actors in agriculture are the farmers, the aggregators, the exporters, and also the financials. And then number two is capture the key events. What happens from the, what's the exchange of goods? Who does what transaction? So you have to get the key events, and that key event you have now to back it up well with a blockchain ID. And then from there, number three is the data source. Where you getting this data source? Where you getting this information? Is it verifiable? So that you actually, when you're tracing on the supply chain, you're actually now tracing the authentic thing. And then besides that, you have to know who owns this particular maybe data and who has the access rights. So in our case, just as I showed, showing just how the Shamba Records platform works. So we have farmers at the primary, they own the data in terms of production data. Number two, we have the certifiers. The certifiers can be government, can be any other kind, maybe farming producers, just to certify the quality that's coming from the farmers is the right one. And then we have the buyers and the lenders. The buyers and the lenders are do the verification. So you can see our journey is very simple. Farmer, certifiers, buyers. So everybody is well connected, and you can be able to trace both forward as well as backwards. Now, Moving now to building trust with verifiable credentials. And I don't know how many know about verifiable credentials, but verifiable credentials are like a digital passport for a piece of data. Remember, in our case, we are collecting the goods or we're taking the goods from the source. But how do we ascertain that these goods come from this particular source? So you have to have that verifiable credentials that you can now use to be able now to map and to know how the goods moved. And then you can be able now to track both forward as well as backwards so that you can be able now to know who or is the actual owner and who is the what's who the actual owner of this data. And the good thing about verifiable is there is the rightful owner, and this can be verified by multiple. So, for example, now on the hackathon, so you need to make sure that when you're building now the credential schema, you have to know what's the data source and of the data source, and then from that data source, then you can build now the credential. And then from there, you have to identify what are the key areas that happens on the supply chain. So, for example, so how do we verify a farmer? Number one, you have to make sure that maybe you issue a digital ID that you can be able now to verify the source of goods and then use it against the farmer. And number two, once you get these goods or the produce from the farmers, you have to give also the product a unique ID, which can be able now to be used now to track as well. And then besides that, you have also to understand and also pick maybe key data points like what's the issuance date of that product, what's the expiration date, so that you can be able now to have the actual details and even when you're doing the verification. So in simply put, for verifiable credentials, this is like a digital passport just for a piece of data. And that piece of data you can be able now to use now the verifiable to a certain source. And this can be the verifiable can be used by multiple people. And then besides that, when you're building now the verifiable credentials, you have to that and narrow down the key mandatory information, like maybe for this case, maybe the farmer digital ID, the product may be unique ID, the issuance date of that product, the expiration date, because to be able to help, especially on the supply chain tracking or traceability journey. So as I mentioned, the key areas of supply chain tracking, you have to identify the actors and also define the roles of actors. Who does what? Who does the production? Who does the processing? Who does the value addition? And then who issues what? So number one, the first step is to understand your actors on the journey. Number two, you have to understand who issues now maybe verifiable credential and who does it belong to when it's issued. So for example, in our cases, um, the verifiable credential is now from the farmer signed against the harvest records of that particular farmer. So you can be able now to verify both the farmer, verify now their unique product that they harvested. And also maybe the government also can be able to use certification just to be able now to add more weight on the different verifications. Number two is the holder. Is the holder is the person who and the holder of that credential, verifiable credentials. This is the if you need just not confirm certain is then you need to know who be the holder or who be the one in charge of that particular credential. And then number three is the verifier. Who verifies? Who do you give the act? So amongst your actors, you have to know who does the issuing, who holds, who verifies. And this doesn't apply just in the agriculture. It can apply in many different sectors, even health sector. So those are the key things that you have to understand on this journey. You have to identify the issuer, the holder, and the verifier. The verifier, then they can be able now to use a QR code, be able now to ascertain the information. And then this is just how the verifiable credential lifecycle looks at the issuance. That's the first point is the issuance is the source, and then the second step is the storage, where who stores, who gets to hold it, and who does the verification. So when you're designing your products, keep it very simple. Just keep it who does the issuance, who holds, who does the verification, so that everybody knows their role along the supply chain, and you can be able to easily monitor both forwards as well as backwards on the traceability journey. So just again, this is just a guide for you guys, especially when you're building and coming up with a project. Don't think so big. For us, you've been in the industry for so long that the different actors, but you just maybe you can even have like a four journey or four actors journey. So just four actors journey, and then you identify what are the key points or what are the key mandatory that we need to have for us to be able to have a successful or to have something that can be able now to trace from the source all the way to the final product. And then along the way, make sure that the data points that you're using are quite authentic. Are you getting this information maybe APIs? Is it manual entry? But just I know you guys, you can be able now to come up with different innovative ideas, just to be able now to show maybe the product journey, but also keep it very simple. Good. So now, how do we use how do we leverage Hedera? So Hedera is one of the amazing protocols. For us, Shamba Records, we've been able to, because number one, the cost or the near zero gas fee is one of the most motivation for us to be able to use Hedera. And when you look at our industry, we have a very high volume of. We are looking at, when you look at that journey, we are working with millions and millions. So we are expecting a lot of transactions. We're also we're also storing their harvest records on chain. And then from there, we are also working with buyers, the exporters who are doing the payments, who are paying the farmers. So we needed a protocol that, number one, is fast enough. It has low latency levels. Number two, the gas fees are quite low. And that's how we're able now to land on Hedera. So I think this is and Hedera has been very instrumental in our growth. So you guys are in a very good spot, and I will encourage you now to spin any project or come up with an innovative project on it. And for us, Shamba, one of the key services Hedera is the Hedera Consensus Service. Yes. And what we do is, as you know, HCS provides an interpret-proof log of events, and that's how we're able now to trace the goods. And for example, what we do is we don't actually store all the whole raw data, like the farmer register on yes. No, we just store the credential or the identifier. So what I mean, like for example, the farmer ID, that's what we store on HCS. And then number two is the product that the farmer is producing. That's all we store it on HCS. So you just hash the credential and then submit it on the hash to the HCS. And that way you can be able now to have the different timestamp of the movement of goods. So you don't have to actually store so for example, if you're building a solution, of course that's gonna have like millions and millions of users. So you don't have to store all the whole the database on HCS. Actually, what you can do is just identify, as I said, identify the unique points. Like now, if it's the farm ID, you can just hash it on HCS. Number two, if it's the product unique ID, you can do the hashing on HCS, and then you can have maybe like a very simple, what do you call it? A simple maybe web interface that someone can be able now to come in and check the different movements of goods and check the timestamp of how the goods were able to move. So one of the key things that we've been able to utilize for us is HCS, and I'm so sure you guys will be it's easy to be able now to learn as well to build on it as well. So number two is also now service, that's yes. Because, for example, if you've been able now to create an ecosystem or a community, for us, we have been able to create a community of farmers. You can be able now to maybe build a token or even do an NFT project that can also be used maybe to motivate maybe your community, motivate users. So the first thing before even once you build that ecosystem, it makes it even easier to be able now to use now tokens like the HTS, and you can be able now to have a whole digital economy whereby you can be able now even to process instant payments, you can be able to verify data, and you can be able now to use it on a daily basis to improve the lives of so many people. And this is just again just what I've been saying. Integration is flow is quite very simple. So for us, what we do is just to make sure we get when the event occurs, when the farmer produces, and then once the product is, and then besides that, we get to know who issues and how the goods moved. So that's why we have the VCs or issuers verification. And then the third step is now hashing or putting the the key records on the Hedera consensus services, and then from there is also now rolling to the public or maybe using QR code just to be able now to monitor the. So again, as I say, keep it very simple. Understand the actors in the supply chain, especially in the agriculture sector. Build on that, but again, we're not going to limit it to the agriculture sector, but also to the other different sectors. So the key thing is know your actors, know what happens when the event occurs, know what are the mandatory data that you put on, maybe on HCS, and then have a platform whereby you can be able now track the journey of these products or the the movement of products and etc. So just this is just a guide. So you can just create a very simple script that can be able to mock up, maybe you can even imagine of different, let's say, supply chain, and then after that, if you've been able to map it very well, map the data flows, you've been able to map your actors, your issuers, your verifiers, then you can be able now to build it on or hash it on HCS. Maybe even have a simple web page that can be able to visualize the different journeys. And I think that would be good. So maybe some of the ideas, because it's a hack, it doesn't have like to be a very complex product. It can be
عسلامة يا
just
جماعة.
could be a very simple UI. But
البارح عيد
just
ميلاد
the whole goal
هادي
is to be able to
واليوم عيد ميلاد وئام.
that you can be able now to create create a whole tracking and trace on a supply chain. Come up with the different actors. Come up maybe what are the key areas that we need now to build on this, and then how do we make sure that the user is able to understand the journey, and again, how do we make sure that we can be able to go backwards as well as we can be able to go forward. So as I said, I will keep it short and just uh, give room for questions at this particular point. Yep, and maybe some feedback on this. Hello. Hello, are you
Thank
here?
you, George. Yeah, thank you,
Mm-hmm.
George. Thank you, George, for your slides that you shared. I guess like we have already some questions in the chat. So, let me answer what I can found. We'll be able to get recorded on YouTube or get the deck presentation for sure. This session is gonna be recorded and it's gonna be shared with you on Discord. We'll share it with you as all the sessions that we did before. And for the presentation, Mr. George, if you can drop it. If it is possible directly on our chat or send it to me and I will share it with all the communities.
Yeah, perfect.
Absolutely. Thank you very much, George, for your wonderful presentation.
Yeah, actually, Yusuf, I was talking. I don't know if you can hear us.
Yeah, I can hear you. You can't hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now. Yeah, good.
Great. Yeah, very good.
So this is the first question. Mr. George, how can we verify that the product originally approved and certified has not been subtitled or replaced? Substituted or replaced, sorry.
Okay. So how can you ascertain if I didn't get you well? How can you ascertain if the product has not been substituted? That's correct. That's the question.
That's exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Okay, great. So remember, each and every product issued a unique ID, and also it's assigned now to the farmer ID as well. So, and when these goods are moving, maybe to an aggregation, or maybe they are moving to the point of processing or to manufacturing, they also put what we call on a batch ID. What I mean by batch ID is the batch ID is able now to cater for the goods that have been aggregated in that particular maybe lot. So what happens? Each and every lot is when each and every lot is it's contributed or it's aggregated with multiple collection points or multiple goods source, and multiple collections have that unique ID. So you can tell for this lot number or for this batch number, it had these products from product maybe 001, maybe product 020. So even at the point of goods are being aggregated, they're aggregated according to the product ID. So it's not just any product that's grabbed and then it's mixed. So it's a when the products are being picked for aggregation, they are picked accordingly to the product number. So that's where you can be able now to even know where the product ends. And then when that maybe particular lot maybe goes for further manufacturing or maybe further processing, then also the final product also carries also now blockchain ID. So that helps from the final product. You can be able to track backwards to when the goods were aggregated to the different lots. And those lot numbers, when you open further, you can be able now to find the different product ID. So also that minimizes now the manipulation of the products, or as well as substitution of the products. So it has to be a very well structured from one product ID, and then from that one product ID goes to this number of product IDs, whether it's product ID number 1 to 20, it's put in this lot. And then from that lot, then it goes for further manufacturing and further product. This lot is able to produce final product, maybe A and B. So when you do final product A and B, you can be able now to, when you break it down, you can be able to see the different products that made up that particular final product, as well as when you break down the lot number, you can be able to see the different sources, or the guys were able now to bring those let's say products.
Thank you, Mr. George, for this kind explanation. I think we have other questions on the chat. Guys, if you have any question, please do not hesitate to drop it on the chat or join us directly by asking to be part of the speakers panel. So the next question: do you think that the market needs a cheaper IoT sensor for Africa low bandwidth, especially for remote area?
Yeah, I think one of the biggest challenges, of course, is hardware in Africa. And if we can just have like very affordable sensors that can be able maybe to keep to key or get maybe the mandatory maybe data on the mandatory data point. It can be able maybe to pick like 4 data points. So we don't have to have like a very, let's say, very expensive sensor now to 10 maybe data points. We can just if it's a very simple product or a simple hardware that can even pick like 3 key mandatory data points that can help in the traceability journey, then that will help a lot. And then when you're talking about remote areas, then you need something that can just pick the essential, the essential or the key mandatory data. So, but and remote areas would just having that sensor picking the verifiable data and the key verifiable data, not all the data, just the key verifiable data. That can really help a lot and can help also now creating a very trusted, let's say supply chain. So yeah, IoT can be a good, a cheaper and affordable IoT with maybe picking up maybe 3 data sources that can help a lot. And the data sources can be maybe the quality of the product, can be maybe the storage, the logistics as well. So it's up to you guys to think, because we just to guide you. But I think that can help a lot and can create a better enabling environment for traceability.
Good. Thank you for your answer, Sir George. Now, I think like there is another question. Our protocol are Turing officer. I respect each and every one. Yeah, okay. It's more than no than a question. Thank you, Brahim, for it, guys. If you have any other question, please do not hesitate to ask. The floor is yours. Please benefit from this session, since like we are all moving toward the hackathon, and every session is valuable for you to answer your questions and to find like. The best and most suitable project for that can win from this hackathon. So, guys, please do not hesitate to ask your questions and make sure to be ready and to have like to benefit from Mr. George, his experience and what he's giving to you today. So please do not hesitate to do it.
Yeah, Taleb, yeah, just keep on motivating because number one, Hedera has been very instrumental in our growth as a company, and we have seen there's a lot of more opportunities. And so for us is what through Hedera we've been able to impact more, close to 50,000 daily users, but initially in the lifeline of closely to 1 million. But and what I can say there's a lot more opportunity. Think about HTS tokens. Think about Hedera consensus service. And again, think about. I like the different questions and ideas that. So this is the thought process that I encourage because for us it's just to find. And I believe you are able to come up. If you're able to come up with maybe a very unique value proposition, I think this can go a long way, and some of it can be, we spin off to a whole company, or can be a major add-on to, global company. Remember, especially in Africa, most of the goods that are produced here are not normally consumed here, and like the coffee production in Africa or the coffee harvest, 90% up in the export market. When you look at the fruits industry, whether it's in avocado, whether as well as grapes in South Africa, all of it is in export. When you look in West Africa, like cocoa, Ghana, Cote d'Ivoire, all those goes to. So, and when you're building this traceability solution, just don't think just local, just don't think a local market. Think about the whole chain, because and how can we there on the retail market? What I mean by the retail market, and I think this is a good chance because again, when you build it, there's a reward up to it. There's something that you're getting out of. So it's just we just throw the ball onto you guys. We're here to help where we can, and for those guys who have any technical questions, you can always drop text or something like that, and then we'll try my best to be able now to respond as quickly as possible. And also, if I don't, I can try to get one of our Shamba Records key team members just want to.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, I think there is someone who's willing to join us. Accepted your invitation. In the meantime, there is a question coming from
Yeah,
Ibrahim
there's a question in the chat.
regarding yeah, from Ibrahim regarding yes, sir. My question is that seriously, I don't understand Hedera. Please, if it is possible, I want to know more about the Hedera. Thank you so much, and sir, I'm waiting for your response. Like the first step, like what we are providing in the first step for anyone who doesn't know anything about Hedera ecosystem. Like we are providing you an entire free educational program with a certification that does give you like a clear overview of the Hedera ecosystem, the core services, the Hedera token service, Hedera consultative service, and the Hedera smart contract service. So please go through the certification. You'll find all the informations, all the needed information to be ready to understand the ecosystem in the first place, and in the second place, please to be able to develop on top of this ecosystem. Yusuf, if you can, please do not hesitate to share with the community the link of the
Yeah,
certification,
I'll
and
do.
that yeah, in
I'll do.
that way, you will have like the chance
Sure.
to have a clear overview of the ecosystem. Uh, So if you want to add, Mr. George, anything to that?
Okay, 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 great. Yeah. So I think what just to support what Alea has said, just the so make sure also you do the Hedera Hashcraft certification course, and then that will also it doesn't have to be a very don't so these I think the hackathon devs or developers, if you have an idea, just throw it in, and then you visualize the whole the journey, and then how can the blockchain be applied. It's not you to it's not a must that you build, but also we welcome all kind of different ideas. So Taleb, I think due to time I will just let you guys continue, but let me know if you have any side. I'm gladly able to help, and thank you so much. And I'm so excited to see the number of and the number of guys who have showed up. And I know this will go a long way.
Yeah, thank you for your time, Mr. George, and for your
Thank
commitment
you very
toward
much.
the Hedera African community. And guys, please stay with us so we can answer your question. We can help you either on the certification side, on the hackathon. If anything is not clear, we're here to answer. So please do not hesitate to ask it from us. And again, thank you, Mr. George, and wish to host you again for another session during the next weeks. And I hope all the best for you.
Thank you again for having me, and thank you for the interesting and projects. Just looking forward to the next few days and weeks to see what will come out of this, and happy to help. Wish you the rest of the day.
Thank you very much,
Thank you.
George. See you soon on stage once again, hopefully. Thanks.
Thank you. Guys, I thank Peter or
Or
MC
McNoble.
Noble, McNoble. Yeah,
Yeah.
please
I
feel
have
free
a
to ask your
question.
question.
Okay. I didn't get the link for the registration. How can I get the link
I sent the link
Oh,
of
for the
the free
hackathon?
certification in the training stage chat.
I will pin it so everyone can
Isn't
check
it
it.
training session?
It is like
Okay.
for the certification session. So it is like the link for the certification for
Absolutely.
yeah, for the hackathon. Please do not forget to apply on Dora Hacks. So we make sure that every one of you is onboarded on the Dora Hacks to make sure that he's officially part of the Hedera Africa Hackathon. Like we will not accept projects that are submitting on Discord. We just accept projects that are submitting on Dora Hacks. So please make sure to subscribe on Dora Hacks and to participate to the hackathon. Create your bidons, add your team members, and join us there as well. Here, like the main purpose of Discord is to answer your question, to host the training session, to host mentorship, the office hours, all the activities, but all official documents are need to be sent on the Dora Hacks platform. So there we will accept the official applications. This is one question. Yeah. Now, Boxer Bass, please do not hesitate to ask your question.
Yeah, sure. Basically, I actually thought George was actually going to stay back for some Q&A sessions. I didn't think he would be leaving immediately.
Yeah, actually, I think he had some urgency, so he wasn't able to finish up. But if you have any question, please do not hesitate to ask us. We have with us Yusuf from Dar Blockchain's team, and he's expert in Hedera ecosystem. Myself,
Yeah.
I'm expert on the business side of Hedera, so please do not hesitate to ask us and.
Absolutely. Yeah. You can ask any
Share your
technical
Cool,
question you have.
cool. Sure. So basically,
Yes.
we're actually trying to build something like that's closely related to the real estate, basically in Africa. And I think one major concern with us has been um, trying to look for ways to simply verify land titles and then subsequently hold records for this on Hedera consensus. So basically, what we've done is basically just to get. Um, can you hear me?
Eh,
Yes, yes, I can hear you. Go
hey,
on.
Cool. So basically, what we've done is we've basically just taking these land titles, documents, whatever documents landlords, property owners, and are putting out there for to show that they own properties. We've basically taken these properties we have stored them basically on an S3 bucket. And then what we went on to do was to hash this image and then
Sorry, you
store
stored
them
them where?
on.
Actually, Ed? Sorry to interrupt. You stored them where?
Yeah, sure. So
In Hedera
basically,
file
so
service?
basically, you know,
File service?
no, no, no.
No.
No, basically so currently we are storing them basically in an S3 bucket.
In what?
Typical Web2 Amazon in an S3 bucket.
Ah,
Like basically a file storage where we can
okay.
get this back. We actually had the idea to use their file service initially, but then I think one major concern we're having was I think file sizes. And so I was unsure of how much file size their file service can actually take.
Okay.
Um,
My
so,
question
uh,
here,
so I'm actually
sorry to
okay.
interrupt. My question here is why
Yeah,
you
sure.
haven't used Hedera file service while using AWS? Like, why you
Um,
use AWS instead of
so
Hedera
basically,
file service?
the initial plan was to use their file service, but I had concerns about how large of a file their file service can actually take. Did you get that?
Okay, so you didn't take Hedera file service because you were asking how much. Okay, so actually, I remember that the Hedera file service supports files up to 100 megabytes in size. Like 100 megabytes is the maximum total size for a single file, of course.
Oh,
So
okay, cool.
yeah, so I can also advise you if you have large files, what you can do in this case, you can just split them and upload them piece by piece, okay? And you make
Okay,
sure that each file does not exceed 100 megabyte, okay?
okay, okay. Got you. So basically, I'll just kind of perform like a chunk upload.
Absolutely, yeah.
Cool, 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 cool. So yeah, so something else. So another. So basically, one bottleneck we've also had was basically so just now I heard Josh talking about DIDs, decentralized identities. We
Mhm.
basically I've basically known about that for quite some time, and we've actually tried to explore that basically for issuing. So basically when these documents are uploaded, so basically when we collect these documents, we basically hash them, store them on ACS, and store basically in an S3 bucket, which would eventually change to being stored in a Hedera file service. What we basically do is we just basically provide these users with a link at the end of the day that they can reference to just to view these documents that they've uploaded. But we're thinking if we could actually like make it completely decentralized and ensure that they have like a proof that this property actually belongs to them, like inside of their wallets. But trying to integrate with Hashpack has really been like a huge bottleneck for us. And so we just switched from wanting to make it fully decentralized to actually having it just as a record on our database that we can present to them later on, just so as they can reference that file on ACS and yeah.
All right. Okay, so what's the issue right here? If you can explain more.
Yeah, so basically, I was wondering how easy would it be to store these DIDs? How easy would it, or these verifiable credentials? How easy would it be to basically store them? To basically store them like in wallets of individuals, basically. Do you get that?
Okay, so your question is how easy would it be to store the credentials that will be used in the decentralized identity solution in Hedera wallets, right?
Yes, basically.
Okay, so Usually in decentralized systems, like those using DIDs, as you said, and verifiable credentials. So the credentials are mainly issued by trusted parties. They are called issuers, and they are held by the user, which is the holder. And they can be verified by others, which are called verifiers. Okay, so these credentials are often in JSON file format, right? Or not?
Absolutely, they are.
Yeah, and they are signed cryptographically. Now,
Yep, absolutely.
if you should store the credentials in Hedera wallets, so you can't store them directly because Hedera wallets mainly are key manager for signing transactions, and they are linked to
Yeah.
accounts that manage HBAR. So HBAR stands for the native cryptocurrency of Hedera. So
Yep.
they manage HBAR tokens and they interact with the Hedera service. So the Hedera wallets aren't designed to store arbitrary data like credential documents, okay? So if you want realistic options on Hedera, I can advise you to store credentials off-chain. By that I mean
Okay.
just to store the reference and the reference hash on chain. But the credential must be off chain, okay? Like you will store the actual credential on IPFS, like or Arweave or even Secure Cloud. I don't know if you know the blockchain project Arweave.
I do.
Yeah, great. So you can either store the credential on IPFS or on Arweave or even on Secure Cloud, okay? Other
Okay.
than that, you should store the hash or an IPFS CID in the Hedera file service. Okay?
Okay.
Or you can also store it as a memo or contract storage also.
Okay.
And right here, the wallet can resolve and verify the credential only when needed, okay?
Okay. Gotcha.
You can,
Gotcha.
yeah.
Gotcha.
So this can be
Gotcha.
used.
$20
Sorry, please, if you can mute yourself. I don't know who is with us on stage. Peter, can you mute yourself, please, for a second?
የተመደበው ለሀካቶኑ
Peter, can you
ከዛ
mute
50 ሺህ
yourself,
ዶላር
please?
አለ $50 አለ ፕራይዝ
I
ፑሉ
don't
Yeah,
know.
done
ፑሉ
from
1
my
ሚሊዮን
side. I will
Okay.
open up the
አንደኛ
stage
ለወጣ
later
50 ሺህ
from Peter just after finishing this question.
Yeah, I just muted him. All good. So,
አፍሪካ ነው
the second option would be to store credentials directly in Hedera file service.
ብሎክቼን
Like, so you can store the actual credential JSON format file in the Hedera file service.
Okay.
እስከ መስከም
So the access would be controlled using file keys. And as I told you earlier, you can store up to 100 megabytes per file, okay? So
Okay.
this option is feasible, but it's not optimal like the first one, okay? Like
Okay.
because the first one that I've gave you, it's recommended for scalability and privacy. This one
Okay.
is not really optimal for private or sensitive credentials, okay?
Okay.
Or you can also use smart contracts. Like for example, you can use the Hedera EVM. Like you'll deploy a smart contract that holds credential hashes and also that manages, let's say, revocation status. After that, you can interact with it via wallet decentralized applications, okay? Like Hashback
Okay.
that you mentioned earlier. Also, this option is good for credential registries, like, for example, I don't know, you mentioned the land titles and all of that, but it's not really optimal for storing the full credentials, okay? So if you want to store the full credentials and you want the option to be recommended for scalability and privacy, I would recommend you 100% to store credentials off chain and store only reference and hash on chain. Okay.
Okay,
Great. Was my
gotcha,
answer clear?
gotcha.
All good?
Yeah. Basically, it was clear. Yeah.
Very good.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. All right, guys, do you have any other question maybe before closing this, this training session of today?
I guess Peter, let me open up the mic for Peter. Peter, if you want.
Yeah, we also have an interesting question in the chat. So Abba told me Yusuf credentials couldn't be stored as NFTs. So great question. Yes, credential can be represented as NFTs on Hedera. So you can use NFTs to represent like ownership of a credential, or you can store a reference to the credential data. For example, on IPFS, as I was earlier mentioning it to our participant who were with us on stage. You can also add immutability and traceability and even the revocation logic, okay? So if you want to try it, I would advise like tools and standards that you can use. You can use the DID method on Hedera. You can also use the Hedera token service. So the service that will allow you to mint and manage NFTs. Of course, you'll use IPFS or Arweave or even Filecoin for off-chain credential storage. And you can also use OpenBadge and Credential Engine for educational credentials. Okay, so the final verdict for this question, yes, using NFTs to represent verifiable credentials on Hedera is possible. Okay, I hope that I asked clearly to your question about.
Yeah, I think we have another question. We are planning to go mobile first, but as you know, official stores like Google Play or App Stores take time for approval. It is okay to use third-party stores instead for the Hackathon MVP. Yes, for sure. You can use
Yes,
third-party
absolutely. Yeah.
stores. Yeah, even if it is not officially deployed on Google Store or
Or
App
yeah, or
or Play
Apple. Yeah.
Store, App Store. So there is not an issue. When you're sharing the final GitHub link, give us access to see the platform. No need to be to make it like fully stored in one of the major apps. The idea is to evaluate technically, and in your roadmap, you can like share the roadmap of its integration in Google Play and in App Stores. So, taking into consideration how long it lasts to get the approval on both stores. So no issue with that. Please make sure like the idea behind this hackathon is to have like no need to have like something 100% complete, but when you do something you do it properly.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, Hanan, go ahead if you have any question.
Welcome with us on stage, Hanan. Do you have any question?
Okay, if we don't have any other question, can close today's session. Guys, please take into consideration like these two informations, like every day starting from 4 p.m. We have like we have like the office hours where it is gonna be a space where you can come ask your questions, and there will be all every day mentor or expert from that blockchain team to support you to answer your question and to help you going through this hackathon. Also, this Friday we will have another training session. It will be shared with you on the different communication channel here on Discord, through emails, on DoraHacks, and through all your communities that are with us and that are collaborating to share with you the informations.
Okay, McNoble has another question that he posted on the training stage chat. So he said, for off-chain storage, can we use Web2 databases, or you're more inclined to IPFS? Okay, so that's a really interesting question, and when it really comes down to your goals around decentralization, trust, control, and even regulatory needs. Okay, so if you're gonna break down objectively, usually Web2 databases like, for example, Firebase, MongoDB, or even PostgreSQL, they are fast, familiar, private, but you won't have full control. Okay. Meanwhile, we're using IPFS or similar decentralized storage like RWE, for example. It is trustless, tamper-proof, and of course, public verifiable storage. So now, if I want to say when to use Web2 databases, so you can use traditional database if you are still in early stage, or if you need private and mutable data. For example, if you're working on user preferences or even temporary credentials, and that you want full access control and fast querying. Okay, so it's really easy to set up when it comes to Web2 databases. They have high performance and query flexibility, and of course, as I mentioned, you have full access over full control, over access and uptime. The cons of it, of course, is that they are centralized. They can be tampered with if compromised, and they are also less aligned with decentralized principles. Meanwhile, while using IPFS or Arweave or even Filecoin, decentralized storage will allow you to be public verifiable. By that I mean that the proof of the data won't change. The data is meant to be shared across systems or wallets when using IPFS. You are storing verifiable credentials or hashes or NFTs, and you want your app to be more censorship resistant or trustless. Okay, so it really comes to your goals here, McNoble. Okay, I hope that you found my answer clear. Okay, so for on-site workshops, I think Talel is going to communicate about them at the end of the week, right, Talel?
Yeah, actually, like some of the hacking station just shared their dates on DuraHacks. Some of them are just in the middle of the confirmation process, and all the hacking station that will take place are going to be communicated during this week. And now, like we are just confirming the dates, and all the informations are going to be shared with you on the tag. So make sure that like we're gonna have at least 20 to 25 local hacking station. These events are not going to be local competitions, but a sort of bootcamp to assist you directly, like their blockchain team, ESF team, and THA team are going to move and to be present physically in different countries across the African continent. So we will share with you, we'll communicate with you all the informations regarding this process. It started being communicated. Also, make sure to have all every day an eye on draw hacks. Like things are moving fast, and so all the informations are shared on a daily basis with you. Anyways, I think I might, Hannah has a question. I think I might be having an issue with my microphone. I found myself overwhelmed by all the resources on Hedera and I was wondering, could you recommend an optimal roadmap to go from hero to zero proficiency? Let me share with you a website of the hackathon. Yeah, it is the first thing is as mentioned. It's gonna be the certification where you will find the needed resource.
Absolutely.
But I would like to also share with you the tools regarding each and every project. Like in the website, you'll find like the main use case, the main core tools, and some examples of the coding. This will help you a lot in your journey. So let me share with you all the resources needed, and I guess it's an interesting thing to have access to the website and see all the resources provided for each track and what are the services that you can deploy to be part and win this hackathon. You can discover all the informations that are also shared with you in the website. So please follow us on all the channels since we have a lot of informations to share, and you need to follow closely to be part and to fulfill your journey in this hackathon. Guys, any other question? I guess like we are reaching 1 hour and 30 minutes of for this training and for this Q&A session. If you have any question, please do not hesitate to ask us. Be present tomorrow if you want. Like we have a dedicated office hours where it's gonna be like an entire hour to answer all your question, all your thoughts, share with you. Like if you have are facing issues or difficulties regarding our subject, please do not hesitate to join us with your teams and ask your questions so you can benefit from this journey. Anyways, I think it's time to leave, Yusuf. If you have anything to add before closing this session.
Yeah. So thank you very much for joining this traceability architecture training session. I think it was a really valuable session. Thanks also for asking all these interesting questions today. And see you soon on training stage, guys. Thank you very much. Goodbye.
Not on training stage, on the office hours tomorrow at the same time.
Yeah, on
So,
training stage, of course, they happen.
yeah, yeah.
Okay. Thanks, Talel. See you.
Yeah. See you. Bye bye.